Bassirou Diomaye Faye has been sworn in as the president of Senegal, with the 44-year-old pledging greater sovereignty and systemic changes in how his country is run during his 7-year term. President Faye won election less than 2 weeks after being released from an 11-month-long detention. Many presidents from across Africa, including President Bola Tinubu, were in attendance. AIT's foreign news editor, Shola Jaisimi, looks at the most pressing issues in the new president's entree.
Devant Dieu et devant la nation sénégalaise.
It's another historic moment in Senegal, as for the third time, the opposition is gaining power, with 44-year-old Bassirou Faye taking over as president. The euphoria of Sunday, March the 24th, continues to ring louder across the only country in West Africa never to experience a military coup d'etat.
What happened in Senegal is something that the rest of the continent should emulate, and that's why it's essential.
Even as Faye won with just over 54% of the votes in the first round, beating the outgoing coalition and SY Prime Minister Amadou Ba, who garnered 37%, 61% of the electorate participated from the figures by the electoral bodies, and most of them were youth.
A lot of youth are just uprooting themselves and going on these deadly trips, trying to reach the Spain and Portugal and all that through these irregular means. There's also the ones that are trying, by all means, to get to France, to get to Canada, especially the French-speaking part of Canada, Quebec, and all that. So there has to be a lot of effort to create jobs, create employment, and make sure that, because by doing that, you're going to stem this tide of irregular migration.
The youth play the role because they don't have a job. They don't have a future. And they've been arrested. They've been forced. Many Senegalese youngsters have been crossing the oceans, dying in the Atlantic Ocean.
Diomaye Faye.
Having just been released 10 days to the election, him stepping into the presidential palace as successor to Macky Sall is phenomenal. And he has a lot of work on his plate once in office.
There's a section of the population that still believe that there is a form of neo-colonialism going on with the French and all that.
The country will need to heal after a fractured politicking which exposed the divides. Another key issue before Faye is the pronouncement he made, which tends to show a very strong anti-French sentiment. He has said that the French franc will be replaced, which will be solely that of Senegal, with no apron strings tied to colonial master France.
He has kind of recanted a little bit on that. Probably they're going to look for a way of doing it in the long term and all that. So people will be looking for how he's going to do all this and expect that at the end of the day, he will keep his promises.
He has also said some radical reforms will be carried out to make Senegal, in his words, truly independent as a country that can stand on its own.
I'm going back to Senegal as a political exile, returning to Senegal after 5 years.
He himself and Ousmane Sonko would probably be in the best place to do that because they have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of the judicial system in Senegal over the last few years. So there definitely has to be some reforms in terms of the judiciary, in terms of human rights, in terms of respect for the rule of law and all that.
The ball is in his court as he begins a 7-year term as a president, and he has promised to ensure that the country heals and that even his mentor, Ousmane Sonko, has a role to play in his new government. Shola Jaisimi, AIT News.